Out here on the Tiff Tuff today, and as you can see, there's a lot of weeds in here, so I thought it was a perfect opportunity to talk to you guys about spraying weeds in your lawn. You guys probably see a lot of broadleaf coming up now with all the rain we've had recently. I've been getting a lot of emails about it, so I thought today, let's talk about the weeds that are popping up and weeds that we need to control in the coming months as well. Not just broadleaf weeds, but also grassy weeds. So let's get stuck into it. Yo mate, what up? Welcome to another lawn tip vid. So I'm out here on the Tiff Tuff. It is uber dormant at the moment, as you can see, like it is brown. Brown because we get so much frost, nearly had snow the other day. But there's a lot of weeds popping up because of all the rain we've had. We've got a bit of thistle here. We've got a little bit more thistle. We've got a little bit of Patterson's curse. There's also some cudweed around the place. A little bit of clover, a little bit of capeweed. Quite a few different broadleaf weeds popping up at this time of year. Once the soil temps start rising that little bit and we start to get a bit of rain, that's when you will see broadleaf weeds starting to show their head. So you can see there's also some grassy weed coming up at the moment. Now this has been here for a very, very long time. It's just starting to show its head a bit more because the soil temps are starting to come up and this is starting to grow a little bit more now. This is some ryegrass just here. And the way you can tell it is ryegrass is generally at the base of the plant, you will find that's either a little bit purple or a little bit red. Mostly purple, to be honest, as you can see just down there. Hopefully you guys can see that on camera. But that's a good way to tell if it's ryegrass, not wintergrass. Generally wintergrass, you can tell it's a lot more lime green, not shiny leaf like the ryegrass there. And it also has a little tiny seed head that makes it super, super easy to tell that it is Poa annua or wintergrass. There's a little bit that can germinate this time of year, but no more tends to germinate at the start of autumn, in the middle of winter. We're starting to get a bit warmer now, so it'll still germinate, but it's more likely to be broadleaf weeds right at this moment. Now today we're just going to be tackling the broadleaf weeds, which I'm going to use some bow and arrow for that. For the grassy weeds, like the ryegrass and also the wintergrass and that, I could use some lawn row. I'm not going to worry about it too much though, because it's legit like 6 plants and it's not worth spraying them out. In all honesty, I could walk around and pick them out in probably about 3 minutes. Probably take me longer to walk between the weeds than it would to actually pick them out. So there's not many of them, but bow and arrow, which I've talked about on the channel many times before, can be applied any time of year. And I'm saying that because I get questions about when people can apply it all throughout the year. People think it needs to be done in the warmer months. Can be done this time of year, just be aware that it does take longer for the weeds to die out because the soil temps are a little bit colder. When it's warmer, they die a lot quicker. Bow and arrow you can use on any type of grass and it's not going to kill your lawn. Bow and arrow is going to be fine for that, and it's going to cover a broad range of broadleaf weeds: clover, cudweed, plantain, thistle, oxalis, so much more as well. So that's why it's basically industry standard bow and arrow, because it's safe on all grass types and it kills a ton of weeds. Now if you are struggling to figure out what weeds you've got in your lawn, I do have a little section on my website in the help section which does have a lot of the common broadleaf weeds and grassy weeds in Australia on there, with some recommendations on some herbicides as well. Also though, you can get on Google and use the Google Lens app, take a picture of your weed and it will generally tell you what weed it is, or I sometimes use the app called Picture This. Just do the free trial and then you don't actually have to pay. You can go up the top and hit cancel and take a photo of any weed and it works very, very well, like super well, to get on top of weeds. So that's a couple of ways you can help identify the weeds on your lawn, but generally most broadleaf weeds are going to get knocked by bow and arrow. Now I just wanted to quickly mention before we go spraying these weeds, which I'm going to spot spray, I'm not actually going to do a spray across the whole area because there's not a ton of weeds out here, is that it's getting close to our pre-emergent timing applications. So if you didn't know what a pre-emergent was, a pre-emergent is a herbicide that's going to, when weeds pop up, so when they germinate, it kills them instantly and straight away. It won't kill mature weeds that are already there and have germinated a couple of months ago or even a couple of weeks ago, but it is going to prevent things like paspalum, crow's foot, wintergrass, summergrass, crabgrass, all of those nasty weeds that can be quite hard to get on top of. Now, Spartan and Barricade are ones that are going to last up to 6 months, which they're available on my website, and also Oxa Pro, which is really good for new turf that has just been laid as well. It doesn't last quite as long, about 12 weeks, so about 3 months, but it does control a ton of weeds as well, which I put on the Tiff Tuff when I first put it down, and then I did a follow-up of Barricade as well. But yeah, spring is coming, believe it or not, and it's really close to getting out our pre-emergent and also our insecticide like our Acelepryn in the coming weeks. I'm going to do mine middle of August, so 2 weeks away. So as I mentioned earlier, today we're using some bow and arrow. Also going to put it out with some spray dye as well, because we are spot spraying, so I know what weeds I've actually hit. Make sure I've got my gum boots on, long pants, long sleeves, glasses, and also some gloves for when I'm spraying, just to be safe with herbicides. Always best to be safe. Do remember that just don't let anyone on the area until the herbicide dries out. After that, you find let your kids and your pets back on the area as well. When you're applying herbicides too, make sure it doesn't rain for 24 hours after application, just to give the herbicide to work the best it can. Obviously, using a pre-emergent, you need to water it in pretty much straight away, so that's why I don't usually recommend mixing a pre-emergent and a herbicide. You can just water it in 24 hours afterwards instead of straight away, but I like to do them separately. Some people put them together. It is not a problem. Just always do a jar test first to see if they mix up well, because sometimes they can mix up and be way too thick. So with bow and arrow, 50 ml per 100 square meters. We are spot spraying today, so I'm still going to use the same rate, but I'm only going to mix up about 100 square meters worth. So I'm mixing it up with some spray dye as well. Seriously, need none of this to get across the area. It's going to go a little splash, just a cheeky little splash. Don't have it. Oh, probably too much. Now I can use this on my ryegrass as well if I want to. The bow and arrow is going to be fine on there. So if I've got any left over, I'll go around the green. I just won't spray it on the green because bow and arrow is not safe on bent grass. But definitely fine on the Tiff Tuff as well. So as I said, when doing this, don't hold it over the weed for ages. It's legit. Just one little pass, maybe two over the top, 1, 2, like that. And that is it. Keep it below knee height. Make sure you're doing it on a day that is not a windy day. But the good thing about the blue is you can just see where you've sprayed, especially when you're spot spraying. It is super, super duper handy. All done. So we'll see these weeds turn up and curl up in the next 24 hours, so they actually start to stand up and look a little bit funky, as opposed to what they do now. Probably won't have complete die off for 2 to 3 weeks, as I said. Now, as I said, safe on any grass type, also buffalo, because I do get that question constantly, can I use this on buffalo? You can, even lawn row, you can use on buffalo, kikuyu, cooch, zoysia, just can't use it around cool season grasses. But very good at getting rid of ryegrass heady lawn, which I'll be using the lawn row on the Kikuyu to get rid of the ryegrass in the middle of August. Want to get out early, and then I'll start cleaning it out, doing some grooming, doing a height cut reset, getting ready for renovation, either end of August or the middle of September. It really depends on the season, how things are going. I like to do it earlier than I recommend other people to, just so you guys can see the whole process. It takes longer for mine to come back, but it means I'm just a little bit ahead of you guys so you can see how it all works. Otherwise, if I do it later, you won't know what to do when the time comes. Thank you guys so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Every product I talked about today is on my website, lawntips.net. I appreciate if you guys check that out. It helps support this channel, it helps me do videos, helps with all the upcoming projects going into the golf course, as well as some irrigation, tee boxes, doing some chaff sprigging over there with some Tiff Tuff as well, making a whole new area. Lots going on this year. I'm excited about it. So thanks guys so much for watching. Appreciate you. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like this video if you enjoyed it. And I'll see you very soon. Well, that was super simple. Now, this is why you wear long pants, long sleeves, like, yeah, gloves, everything. Look at this. My sprayer is leaking. These are super thick pants, which is why I wore these ones, so nothing really gets through them. But man, you've got to be so careful when you're spraying herbicides. Like, you'd just rather be safe than sorry. It's like anything, when you're spraying, like even fly spray and stuff, you don't want to be breathing that stuff in, it's filthy.